Hey guys, it's Jordan with Team J's Classroom Fun, and welcome back to the final part of my math rotation series. So if you've been following along to this point, if not, make sure you go back and look at my past videos. This is the final video of my math rotation series. But if you've been following along to this point, thank you so much. And I hope this has helped you, and I hope you find this is something you can use in your classroom, or maybe you can take pieces of it to use. So be sure to like, follow, and make sure you subscribe so that you can see future content and ideas. This math rotation series is coming to an end. Oops, wrong button. But I have more ideas and more things I'll be sharing. So this is not the end of the YouTube channel, just the end of this little part of the series. So for today, I want to kind of talk about where to start. So I know in the last few things, we've talked about the why. We've talked about how to use pretest. We've talked about how to use the pretest to make groups. We've talked about the rotation process. We've talked about what to do for teacher time, what to do for seat work, what to do for the activity or game, and what to do for technology. But then the next question can kind of be like, okay, that's all great stuff, but like, what do I do? And it can feel kind of overwhelming to start. And please know, I completely get that. As I mentioned in the first video, I actually started this in April with one of my classes because I was teaching that year. And again, I was looking and going, this is not working how I'm doing this. I need to do something different. And I was like, you know what? We're going to try it out. So if that's kind of you and it's mid-year, end of year, whatever, try it out. It's okay. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. Try it out. See if you like it. The only thing, again, that I ask is that you give it more than 1 or 2 times because it does take a little bit for it to feel comfortable to you and for it to feel comfortable to the kids. So today, I'll be sharing with you tips of how to get started and how to start planning them if this is something you're interested in. So first thing you want to do is you want to pick a unit to start with. Our first unit, typically when I was doing this before, was place value. It might differ depending on what your grade is, what your school is, what standards you guys use, but you're picking a unit to start with. And then what you want to do is you want to think of all the skills that the kids need to know and then divide that out over the different days. So for example, if I'm doing a unit on telling time, right? So say it's a telling time unit and we also need to do elapsed time. I'm going to be thinking through this and going, okay, I need to make sure they know the parts of the clock, right? Like which one's the hour hand, which one's the minute hand. They always confuse that. And then I also need to make sure that we are able to tell like time to the hour, time to the half hour, time to the 5 minutes or minutes or whatever your standard is. And the next thing is being able to use that. So one, also being able to identify time and then also being able to draw the hands on the clock. And then being able to use those skills to help figure out the time that passed the elapsed time. And so I would then divide that out over the number of days that I have. Some of it depends, obviously, again, what grade you teach, how the skills show on the pretest and that kind of a thing. But I take what I'm doing and then I figure out, okay, about how long do I want to stretch this? How many days do I think we'll need? Then what I do is I plan the rotations with the set skill in mind. And so I have a planning page freebie that I'll give you in just a second, or I'll put the link down in the YouTube page. So for this planning page, it has a place for you to put your essential question, vocabulary you want to focus on, and it also provides a space for you to plan your mini lesson, your homework, and what you would do with the different groups. When I say 3 different groups, this is meaning for the teacher time part. Be aware you might have 4 different groups. You might have more like 2 groups. Some of it is depending on like what levels they're working at. I always pull 4 groups, but sometimes I have like 2 kids working, or not 2 kids, 2 groups working like at the on grade level, and then I have a lower group and a higher group. So I'm not having to plan 4 different things. I'm having to plan 3. But it depends on where your kids are at and where your class is at. So for that, then what I would do is use this planning page, and I'll show you it right now, to then kind of map out my lesson. So as you can see, these are some examples from a place value unit that I did. So I had the objective for the essential question that we were focusing on, and then I included vocabulary that I was going to want to focus on. So as you can see in the place value lesson for number 4, this one we were talking about also expanded form of notation. We had digit, things like that. I have the homework on there that we're going to do. And then I also have the stations or rotations. So for this one, they were doing teacher time, tech time, counting collection, which was the activity that we were doing then, and then the day 7 spiral page and working on counting to 1,000, which is another project we do. As you can see for this mini lesson, I was going to start with the number talk, and then we were going to add something to our anchor chart that we had already started. And then as you can see, my lower group is working with smaller numbers, and we're moving on to 4-digit together. My group that's more on grade level is working on adding with the 3 and 4-digit numbers. I'm sorry, they're both doing adding, or all doing adding. And then my last group is working with 3, 4, and 5-digit numbers. So still the same skills, just a little bit different depending on where they're at. And you can see the same thing in the other place value lesson as well. So this is just the place I would use to kind of quickly map out, okay, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. That way I know all my rotations are being covered and I know what the kids are expected to do so that I can go over it with them as well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the math rotation series. If you have any questions at all or want to know anything about math rotations more, please don't hesitate to write in the comments. You can also find me on Instagram at teamjclassroomfun. I also have that page that I just showed you. This little planning is a freebie that I have, so I'll post the link down in the YouTube page. So if you'd like to grab this freebie, you can. And like I said, I'll be back with more. So make sure you like, follow, share, click the bell, do all the things, and I will talk to you next time. Talk to you later.